Muskgrass Chara by Kathleen Dean Moore. Let's start with language. How does Kathleen Moore use language effectively? She describes smells in a way that it makes it obvious she likes just the idea of smells, not just the smells themselves. Describing some smells early on in ways that break grammar rules or express a feeling that she doesn't actually feel, but in a way that you can tell that that isn't what she feels about that smell. Let's get more specific. Aha moments. Early on, she uses a simile describing the air fresh is raw corn silk, showing how fresh the air smelt and how nice the mornings felt back when she was a child. Later on, she's describing a lake that she visits even now quite frequently, using an analogy to describe the ponderosa pines that smell like butterscotch pudding, showing just how sweet those pines smell. Soon after, she uses a less-known rhetorical device called metanoia, describing a smell that reminds her of her past and her childhood, saying that it is green alga, maybe Kara, correcting herself and showing a greater understanding of the smell.
Etymologist. Rhapsodize, originating from Greek, originally meaning bringing a sequence of great poems together, now meaning to speak about someone or something great with enthusiasm and delight. First record of the verb being used was in the early 1600s. Escarpment, originating from French, is a relatively new word first recorded in 1802 in France. It is defined as a steep slope or a difference in elevation by cliffs. Smell has many different roots, commonly believed to originate from the Latin word olfacere, meaning to smell or the odor of something. As for context, tone, and success, these words have their own individual part in the story. When Miss Moore chose to use rhapsodize, it set a tone of being formal while keeping it authentic to her value. As for escarpment, it really throws a picture in for the reader's mind. Lastly, smell. Miss Moore emphasizes the use of the verb, making it a big portion of her story. We can gather from this that she has a keen sense of smell and truly values the smell of her surroundings. She succeeds in the overuse of the verb by describing what she does with smell, such as memorizing who and where the smells come from.
And for the tenants. For humanity, I noticed that she used a lot of imagery to represent what she was describing, which I think is really important when describing places specifically because imagery is how she got us to understand like what she was seeing and smelling, and it just really fit in well with the story. An example from the text was, I love the sopping, salty air along the bayfront where conveyor belts pulled heaps of shrimp from the holds of trawlers. This is just an example of how she's describing what she's seeing around her and what's really like happening and what she's seeing and smelling, which really helps to like connect the reader with the story and like help them understand what's going on. And for simplicity, she structured her essay very nicely, and everything was in an order that made sense. She started out talking about smells that she used to love, how she used to love all smells, and she's really stayed constant and consistent with her writing, and it helped make the point really easy to understand because everything was necessary. She didn't include anything that wasn't necessary for her story. She ended off saying, "This is where the scent lifts off of the water, just where the night is covering the day," which just shows that she didn't stray from the topic that she was discussing, and I thought that was really good writing. For clarity, there was definitely a sense of clarity shown throughout the essay. She was very clear with what she was discussing, and she didn't. Every sentence she included had meaning and really connected with the topic of her relationship with smells and how much she loves smells. Um, a quote that I found was, "Now I can be obsessive about smells. Some days I move through the house on a rampage." This just really showed that every sentence has some sort of meaning to her topic of her love for smells and her relationship with smells. And then lastly, for vitality, this was probably her strongest tenet. She created a lot of emotion and feeling in her writing, and she was really good at using descriptive verbs to convey what she was trying to say and like the emotions she was trying to express through her writing. An example was, I throw out the sour beer bottles and wash the recycling bins with soap. I scrub the place where the wastebasket sits. Her use of the words throw and scrub just really show that she might have been feeling intense emotions or using a lot of force to do these things. And so I just thought that was another really strong part of her writing.